Welcome to Rainbow Soul Vodcast, where our Soulstrology comes forward to help you manage your everyday life, with forecasts and deep dives on natal charts and queer perspectives on the planets, transits, and more. A group discussion about upcoming transits with tips on how to read these transits in your own chart. Hollis offers years of wisdom and natal chart knowledge with Bright Hawk's positive perspective and LeKross's inquiry. We offer the complete queer astrology experience. Welcome to Rainbow Soul. Please help us by subscribing, sharing, and commenting and reviewing. You can also learn where else Rainbow Soul is offered on our website at rainbowsoul.show.
Welcome to Rainbow Soul. And today we are starting a new way of doing Rainbow Soul. We've been through lots of transitions and most of us understand change. And it's just time for change. So we're kind of going in an astrology direction. We're gonna spend time talking about the stars in all different kinds of ways. Not only in your own natal chart, but what's going on in the world and how it's affecting us each week or each month. So you can get forecasts, and you can also find shows about, your natal chart, your astrology birth chart. And I encourage you to get your free chart online somewhere. There's lots of places. And there might be times that we do a little, thing with a guest, but most of the time we'll probably be doing astrology. So I hope that this still keeps your interest in Rainbow Soul from you. So if there's something you want to see happen, reach out to us. You can find us, you can contact us through our website at rainbowsoul.show. Okay. I'm Hollis Taylor.
I'm Bright Hawk.
And I'm LeKross Ortiz.
All right. And we are taking a journey to the stars to see what it might bring us. To see what might happen if we started to talk about astrology with queer eyes.
Let's do it.
All right.
I can kind of call it Rainbow Soulstrology.
Hey, that's pretty good, LeKross.
We got some Soulstrology to give.
Hey,
right.
Now we know. Okay. So what you guys see here is a chart with, this is at one of the free websites. It's very popular, Astrodance. And I'm just doing a type of horoscope for each sign for the coming week. So this starts on August 29th and goes until the end of the week, which is September 4th. Okay. And until you can get another broadcast from us. Okay. And so here it is that first of all, so this is the first in the inner circle is the beginning of the week, and on the outside is the transits, which is the last of the week. So it lets me know how the planets have moved over the week. Okay. And so this is for Aries. And what I'm going to tell you, Aries, is that you are probably going to experience some aha moments and things like that in your, around relationships, and not just love relationships. This is also like people around you and stuff like that. And the reason I'm saying that is because the moon is there and it's in Libra. So it's very intellectual. It's very up here, but it's also kind of aha moments. And it can sometimes be also like intuition, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's in Libra. So, it's going to start out in Libra at the beginning of the week. So if you're listening to this at the beginning of the week, it's probably hasn't happened quite yet, but probably will. And it will also depend on where your moon is. So pay attention to where your moon is. And I would suggest that you listen to make sure you pay attention for all three of your signs, your sun sign, your rising sign, and your moon sign, okay? Because in your rising sign, it might be more about the way you go about doing things or how you do it. And with a moon sign, it'll probably be more like, if your moon is in Aries, it'll probably be more like an emotional experience. Like, wow, I didn't realize I keep having a resentment about such and such with my partner, right? Okay. Or something like that. So sort of a moment of realization.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's going to move by the end of the week over into Sagittarius, but in the middle there, it's going to go through a transition. So I wouldn't be surprised for you to have a little aha moment, and then have a moment of transformation, and then having a new philosophy or a new way of looking at it, especially with moon in Sagittarius. It's very sort of explorative, having their own theories, and being like a philosopher. And that's sort of the Sagittarius energy. But, you know, Scorpio is a little bit more transformative.
Sounds good.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think, and then I noticed Mercury is also in Libra, which, right there where the moon is. So you can see that it's pretty much on the moon. So we might be doing really well at talking about our emotions with our partners and our relationships and being able to speak those things out. But
I think one of the things that, that when you're looking at that much activity in the relationship houses, tread carefully. It's go with caution. That's what I'm getting. And there's a lot of retrograde energy. So when the large outer planets are all retrograde like they are, it's a good time to reflect. Paying attention, going inside, thinking before speaking, highly recommended.
That's a hard one for me. It's always that.
I can be impulsive, and I have paid the price for my impulsive. I just need to say this to you right here and now, and then that's it. Things get set in motion, and that's it. You can't take it back, and so there's that kind of energy right now. So
yeah, and Mars has just entered Gemini, and Gemini is very much about talking, especially in any kind of public way. Okay. And Gemini can very much flip on its head very quickly. And the other thing that's showing that things could just flip on their head quickly is Uranus in retrograde. Just happened, I think, a couple days ago.
A very volatile energy, for sure. It can explode things. So the old saying, we make plans and God laughs, or the goddess laughs, right? This could be that kind of energy. This could be Mars is all about action, but Gemini is everything's twice. It's the twins. So it just, don't get impatient. Just go, oh, okay, what did I need to learn about doing it the first time so I can do it better the second time or the third time or the fourth time? Sorry. And then that Uranus retrograde energy, it can be a hell of a ride. So, the reason why we tell you and the reason why we do forecasts is so we know how to surf it. We know how to be flexible with what's coming up and go, oh, okay, this is that moment where maybe I should, take a breath, go drink a glass of water, go outside, take your shoes off, walk on the earth, ground yourself, keep practical. Gemini is very fast. So the good part is that you can process things quickly. Maybe.
I don't know, LeKross. I mean, if you found yourself frustrated at all, anyone out there that's found themselves frustrated.
Yeah, that's definitely been been my theme, especially, with today, like that I had just, it's bad. Like, it's that Murphy's Law. Anything that could go wrong goes wrong. And to the point, I was just so agitated that I had to come home and hit the bag, and let out that aggression, because that's the other thing is that you'll start feeling that frustration and that aggression, and you got to let it out, but you don't want it to come out sideways because of how it can affect. So it's like, as soon as I came home, I'm like, I'm going to go hit the bag. I'm not even going to speak to anybody because I don't want to say something or react in a way that I could possibly regret. So, which makes totally sense that I see this and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much been where I'm at, that agitation.
Yeah, and I think so I also want you to take a look at your charts. Mars is just the circle with the arrow, which most of us are pretty familiar with. You can find out where that is, what zodiac sign it's in, and on your chart, and wherever that, if it's in Gemini, just hold on for the next 7 months. Mars doesn't usually stay this long in one zodiac sign. I think it usually stays like 6 weeks or something. 8 weeks. It's one of the faster moving planets, but for some reason, I guess because it's going retrograde in Gemini. And hey, friends, I'm anxious about it too. My Mars is in Gemini. So I'm like, It's gonna be okay. And so, just trying to, try not to stress yourself out about it, and instead just try to get yourself in the best place possible, right, so that when you do arrive at whatever difficult moment that might arrive, then you're prepared. And, or you're at least able to handle the whatever happens a little bit better. And so LeKross, you were ready for it, right? You kind of knew, like, if I lose my shit, I can go punch this back.
I can find your outlet, man, because that's going to be important. Like, I have to, mine is, I already struggle with anger as is, okay? So I'm just like, now just go straight to the bag, hit it, get that agitation, get the aggression out, and then, okay, now I can have a nice, decent meal with my family and not be a butthole about anything. So,
yeah. And do you feel like you're able to just think more clearly after that?
Yeah, definitely. And I hit the row machine for about 45 minutes, so.
Yeah, and I
said, when I'm doing that much, I was really not in a good space, so.
So some other suggestions for tempers, or punch your pillow, rip paper. You can write, but sometimes I break pens if I do that. But yeah, some people can write, especially people that are a little bit more watery, like, they seem like Pisces maybe, would find that writing could be really helpful. Even if you write "fuck you" 1,000 times.
Right, exactly.
Cut wood.
Yeah. See.
But I'll tell you, I've had a lot less anger and explosive moments by doing gratitude, a page of gratitude every morning. That tends to ground me in the vibration that I really want to be in, and then my fuse isn't 2 millimeters. And but sometimes you just gotta go cut wood or break create kindling. Snap. We live in the forest, so you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a great way. And I just also want to say that Aries, you may also find that whatever aha moment you have, it could also lead to expansion of your own identity. Just knowing who you are and how you identify, or things like that could be coming up for you.
Remember, your best quality, Aries, is courage.
Yeah. So I'm going to move on to the next sign.
We got a lot here.
And we got Taurus. So for Tauruses, I want to let you know that the moon is, first of all, it's going to start in your, so like right away around the 29th and the 30th, the first couple days of the week, you're probably going to notice you might be having some cyclical understanding of your daily life or your job or your health even. So if health things are coming up, please be aware of your cycles and be aware, like take a look at the cycles, but please also go see a doctor, especially if it's really important. And yeah, and just be aware that, for you, especially what do you have going on in the 6th house? Look at the 6th house. Look at Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius, because the moon's going to move right over it. And pay attention to where Mars is. Is it in Gemini, or is it directly across from Gemini, like in Sagittarius, or, something like that? So those are the kinds of things you want to pay attention to right now. And that pretty much goes for anyone. You want to look where Mars is in your chart, because that's where it's going to really like hit you. It's really going to agitate you. It could also push you to make action or take action on something, or push you forward in something. So, it's not all about fighting and arguing and things like that, but it could be a little bit about that. Mars is the god of war.
Plain and simple. That's the truth.
Mm-hmm. And, also being aware that, also that your independence for Taurus, your independence around in your environment, in your home, is probably you're gonna maybe feeling a little bit of that, like being independent, and what part of you needs to be independent. Okay. And we'll move on to, let's see here, Gemini.
Yep. A lot of Gemini going on.
Now, Gemini, you got a lot going on right now because Mars has come into your sign. So if you have the sun also in there or any other planets, be aware that Mars is going to move over them, and this is going to be going on until I believe it's November. Or I'm sorry, next year it's like March by the time
7 months
ends.
Mars is hanging out in Gemini, a very unusual amount of time.
Yes.
Usually it's about 7 weeks per sign, but with that retrograde in there, party in the Gemini house for quite a while. So it can mean, a great time for action, but like I said, because it's in Gemini, expect to do things multiple times. Don't lose your cool when the first time doesn't work out. Mm-hmm. It's just a great opportunity to perfect and make it better the next round.
Mm-hmm. And, pay attention to your strategies and things like that. Be willing to change up, take a look at the strategies that can really help you out. And things could like kind of flip on you. Just turn upside down. Especially pay attention to where Uranus also is in your chart. Because as I already mentioned, that Uranus just went retrograde, and that energy will be going on for a while. And so you might be feeling a little bit like, wow, that was really unpopular last week type of attitude. Okay. So those kinds of things can suddenly flip over. Unpopular things become popular and vice versa.
Right.
Okay. But Geminis in particular, you'll be dealing with, you might be having some things around your children, around emotions and children, or romance in particular, or your creativity, your passion and things like that. And then it's going to shift more into maybe your daily life, maybe, awakening some ideas around that and what you might need to be bringing in as you go forward and continue your vision. So that's for Geminis. And
next is Cancer.
Our next one is Cancer.
The very loyal little crab.
So LeKross, you have to just ask me questions if I don't if I don't help keep me focused, my friend.
I'll keep you focused. Hold on, I'm waiting for the music to go by.
It's okay. I'll fill that in for a moment. Okay, and so for cancers, you might be noticing some independence. So if you start noticing a little bit of independence, if you have any strong planets in Cancer, like the sun, or it's your rising, or it's your moon, or you have any other personal planets in there, you might notice that there's some independence rising because Lilith is in Cancer. So, but Cancer is kind of a funny thing because you don't know it until you're on top of it. You don't feel what you feel until you're in it. And that's kind of like how Cancer runs.
So Lilith is an asteroid.
And
what does Lilith usually represent?
The fierce feminine.
Okay.
The fierce feminine. So the mythology behind Lilith is that she was the first wife of Adam, right, and basically said, go fuck yourself. I don't need this, and that's a little harsh, I'm sure. I forgot.
Well, I was going to say, in Judaism, it is pretty much what she said. She cast herself out of the Garden of Eden because she's like, no, I want to be on top. You don't always be on top in it. And he said no, and she's like, I'm out. Deuces.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So the fierce feminine, I know what I want. This isn't it. I'm out of here. Right. And so, yeah.
And the fiercely independent. Lilith is also fiercely independent and strong in a feminine kind of way. Think Xena warrior princess.
That's what I was just thinking, actually.
Okay. And so if that's in Cancer, that's going to give that, you might suddenly become aware of some energy, because I find that Cancer usually doesn't, it's because it's got a hard shell on the outside, right? But the soft is in the inside of a crab is soft and gooey, right? So you just have to get in there. And then once it's in there, it's like, oh, and then suddenly Cancer realizes, oh, that's how I feel. So you might have some moments like that. And you're also going to notice around, parents and themes like that, related to, your roots and your circumstances. And you might suddenly have an emotional, like, sort of awakening around that. Especially like, in the beginning of this week and into later into the week, it's probably going to feel more transformative, but it'll be probably really creative or involve romance somehow, or your children. So, so pay attention to those kinds of things and try to listen to your intuition, because, the moon is heading towards fullness. Mm-hmm. So, pay attention to your intuition, because it's going to start getting stronger and stronger as we get closer to the full moon. And Cancer, Cancers sometimes have to look a little closer to be sure of exactly what they're feeling, just to get in touch with now. This is a great time to face that challenge, and sit closer with your emotions. Do you have anything to add?
Isn't this what they call an out of bounds moon? Because it's on the other side of the sun.
Oh.
And then
the sun right here.
Yeah. So I'm noticing this trine that's going on with Mercury, and the moon is right there conjunct. So there's communication is a thing, and Mercury is still retrograde, and it's sitting there right on the between Virgo and Libra. And so, yeah, I'd be mindful about your communication. I know we've said that more than once tonight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But a trine is, of course, a blessing. And so and it's sitting in the house of relationships with your brothers and sisters, and then the fourth house is your parents. So how you communicate with family could be life-changing, frankly, because you have a lot of energy there. But the other part of the trine is Pluto. And Pluto is transformation. So if you can have good communication, it can be transformative. Like things might not look the same after that conversation ever again, kind of moments.
Right. And, also being aware of your actions also, because it's also involving Mars. And with Mars's activity right now, I also know that it is also going to be kind of dancing with the moon, the sun, if you will. It's squaring the sun. And so that can create a lot of intense, fiery energy. And so that's for everyone, just so you know. Yeah.
Squares are about pressure. They force action. You have to go one way or the other because you're at that junction where it's going to go this way or it's going to go this way, but it's not going to stay in this corner because, well, that's really the definition of being stuck in a corner, isn't it? So squares can be very, again, the whole point of these forecasts is to help give you tools to understand how to surf it in a good way. And squares are all about, if you do the work, the rewards will be there. If you don't do the work,
it could get difficult.
Things will be forced that will make choices for you. We've all been there, right? Where you don't make a decision. And then you made a decision by not making a decision. And life's like, this is it. That's the kind of thing we're talking about. So you have some nice blessings there with those trines and some definite squares, challenging, know, do your practice, whatever it is that helps you do you. That's a good thing.
Yeah, and with Jupiter and Neptune on the opposite side of the chart, for everyone, they're opposite the moon and Mercury. So I just feel like Jupiter is so expansive and big, and it's philosophical, and it's lucky, and it's all of those things. And Neptune is more like dreamy and visual and things like that. So I'm also feeling like maybe some of the visions and things that you had might need to be worked out and could present some difficulties or some challenges or things you didn't predict. And so, that those kinds of things could feel frustrating. Just try to have patience and try to bring forward your best self. Maybe go punch a bag or something.
Yeah,
cross it on paper and then come back. Yeah, and so that'll be for everyone too, because that's pretty much what's going on in the sky, and where that is in your chart will be where that pushes or pulls. So if it's your if it's if you're a so it will depend. So like if you're a Cancer, it's probably going to have something to do with your personal feelings, maybe your roots and things like that, and in opposition to your career or something you're doing for work.
Yeah, with those two combined, it's dream, yes, and those dreams could change a lot in their development. Like as you learn what you need to know, then don't be surprised as things morph, and don't be fixated on it's got to look like this, because it's going to change, I promise. This is that kind of energy where both an image, here's an image for you that someone gave me at a time in my life where they said, so imagine, if you will, the archer. You're the archer, you're the arrow, and you are the target. And as soon as the arrow leaves the quiver, both the arrow transforms, the archer transforms, and the target transforms at the moment of impact. Nothing is the same. So it's all about taking the next step, whether you know what the next step after that is or not. So I love to go by the meme of, okay, show me the next right thing. Just show me the next right thing. And like I said, with Gemini, the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And it becomes a refining and learning exercise for sure. And yeah, there's with that Pluto placement, there's a lot of transformation possible. Unexpected as well.
Especially related to your intuition or something you've said, or both. And as we go forward, let's see. Let's take a look at Leo. Now, this is a chart for Leos,
right?
And it just means what strong planets do you have in Leo? Are you a Leo sun, rising, moon? Do you have Venus there? Do you have Mars there? So this area is going to be really affected in you're probably going to notice some things about your siblings, your community, cousins, people around you, your environment, and communication for sure is definitely going to be a big thing, because we got it doubled up there with Mercury in your third house. So that's definitely going to put some challenges there. And again, it's in opposition to something that probably has more to do with like higher thinking, knowledge, or something like that, or like a different way of thinking, especially with Neptune. And it could be related to like false information. So just be aware of that, especially, if you just didn't.
Yeah, you might hear things
you
didn't expect to hear. There might be revelations.
So when your sign lands somewhere, you don't just look at your sign, you actually look directly across as well.
Wait.
Okay. Yeah, because I was just looking at that and I'm like, okay, so now here Leo is right there in the first house and all that, but then they would also look directly to the seventh and whatever's in there.
Yeah, because that's going to affect your relationships. Most of us have some sort of relationships around us, not just love and romance, but it's also going to affect who's attracted to you.
And when you're looking at oppositions and which houses those oppositions are in, it tells you who's having a conversation, what's trying to be balanced.
Okay.
When you see them close together, those are called conjunctions. And that's when it's like, hi, how's it going? Let's have a conversation about that, And depending on which planet it is, the size of the planet, what sign it's in, because that's going to tell you which planet is more comfortable in its house, so to speak. And so that's what we're doing. We're looking at how those lines intersect and how the blue lines are the ones that talk to us about trines, and those red lines are the ones that are talking to us about the squares
or the oppositions.
Yeah.
Because the opposition obviously is directly across. So that's the other thing, is we're also following those aspects, because the aspects don't last very long. Some of them last longer than others, and it just depends on the planets involved. But with the moon and Mercury, that means they're going to move fast. So that's not going to be that long. It's going to be before the end of the week. So you might have some sort of thing that goes on where, so I'm looking at Leo there, and you can see that the moon and Mercury lands in their third house. So that tells me that for most people with a Leo placement, they're going to feel that in that area of their life, which is communications, families. So that's how I'm getting the areas of your life. And the moon's going to move through that through to your roots and your parents and things like that. And it's eventually going to move to Leo's house of creativity, children, and things like that, and romance. So the fact that the moon is moving like that, and it's moving towards a full moon, which means our intuition is going to slowly sort of come awake. It will get stronger. So you always have intuition, but there are times that it gets stronger and it kind of wanes. If you pay attention to it, you'll find that it wanes with the moon, and it kind of comes and goes with the moon.
Yeah, and that when you're wanting to understand how the moon affects you personally, it's good to understand. Obviously, moon is a water sign. Its home sign is Cancer, and so I'm a fire sign. So when I pay attention to that, it's like, okay, where is it in relationship to my fire? Because it can put a real damper on things for me. And that's part of how we also sort of generally look at it.
All right, well, we'll move on to Virgos. So Virgos, you got a lot going on because the sun's in your sign.
Happy birthday to the Virgos out there, your birthday month.
So Virgos will be experiencing that, and for sure it could be around money, especially in relation to like maybe something you got going on, a vision or something like that about expansion, especially if it feeds on power or has something to do with power and greed. If you start noticing that kind of thing, or things around death, or other things around power and greed, you may notice that there's some sort of pullback on your values and your money, or especially the internet and things like that. And that's going to be a lot about your communication. And that's the way the week will sort of begin, Sunday, Monday, the 29th, and to the rest of the week, that will start to shift over. And hopefully you'll be able to move through that, and it will transform with Scorpio right there for you. It will help you transform. And you'll be moving into intuition. And the moon will land in your fourth house, which will, by the end of the week, which will be, the fourth house is very much your parents and things like that. So, and the third house is your environment, people around you, your siblings, cousins, and things like that. Okay? So that's how you can always look at your chart. You can look at where planets, what house they're in. That's one way to read it. Not everybody reads aspects, but a lot of us do. And I find that if you at least know the planet, what it is, understand the planet and what it means. So Mars is in Gemini. So, also be aware that might have something to do with your work. Be aware of people that might backstab and things like that. And, especially at work, or whatever you have involved with the world.
If you suspect you're being lied to, you might be. If your flags are going off, don't think you're crazy. You might be right. Sometimes we really doubt ourselves. Oh, I'm thinking the worst. Sometimes we're right. Good to just take a little bit of distance and not maybe react to that information. But when people show you who they are, believe them. Thank you, Maya Angelou, right?
Yeah. 100% on that.
Yeah, so there could be some of that, especially at work, especially for Virgos right now. So you might just want to be paying attention to that. Heads up there. And, so it's with Mars and Gemini, all of us could be lied to, but Virgos would probably notice it at work or some sort of organization that brings them to the world, whatever they offer the world. So if they volunteer or something like that, okay? Or if you're in college, okay, if you're in college, that would count as your work. Okay. And for Libras, you should be paying attention to intuition that other people notice that you didn't. So someone points something out to you or something like that. Pay attention to that, okay? Really listen to that. Take that in, especially if that happens at the beginning of this week. And as the week goes on, notice how that integrates in your heart and expands your heart if you're able to hear something. And remember, when someone comes to you with something, it gives you a chance to love them more, whatever it is. And I'm just going to say that this could be those moments that really have heart expansion moments, and an understanding of self better. Maybe the way intuition comes to you. Maybe you'll realize you get a stronger intuition towards the full moon or the new moon, and maybe that has something to do with your chart. And and so pay attention to where your moon is. Is it in your first house, your second house, your third house? Take a look there, because the moon's going to be moving across that area. What is in the first, second, and third house for you? Pay attention to what's going to be going on there. And also, pay attention to any kind of illusions or anything like that around your daily living and your health. Pay attention to that. So just a heads up about that. Especially like if other people notice something, you should pay attention to it, even if you're not sure about it. Okay.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I'll
Do you have
pay
any-
attention.
Yeah, Libra.
I'm just looking at that Uranus Taurus in the 8th.
Yeah, that could really
Right there with the North
kind of
Node.
sort of, especially since Uranus has just recently gone retrograde. About, by the time you hear this broadcast, it'd be about 2 weeks prior, and it's in the house of shadows. So for people with a strong Libra placement, and that means that it's going to push on something around power, greed, sex, death, and it could also be taxes. But those sex, death, and taxes are the common keywords for that house. But I notice power and greed
Other
also
people's
have a lot to
money.
do it. Yeah, other people's money. So just pay attention to those kinds of things, okay? Because that's where Uranus is now.
Mm-hmm.
For most people with Libra placement.
Okay.
And they're in Taurus, so you can just look and see in your chart where Taurus is, and that will tell you exactly what house
It's going to light up.
Yeah, exactly what area of your life it's going to light up. And okay,
From Libra to Scorpio.
Scorpio. So just looking at this immediately, I'm going to say be aware of ahas with your friends.
Friends, yeah. Friends' house is all lit up.
Scorpio, pay attention to that, okay? And
so people might be coming into your life that you might not have seen in a long time, or you might be learning something new with friends, or having an adventure with friends. Yeah.
And also, just be aware of any illusions around your children, your creativity, your romance, or even just expansive energy in there, or like a belief system that could really go in opposition to your friends. And so you might want to just take a look at that and take a moment to really consider. I'm going to strongly recommend meditation to everybody for the next 7 months. Like if you can find, now's the time to dive deep into your meditation and yoga and things like that, so you can contemplate the things that are lighting up in your heart and mind, especially you, Scorpio, with all of that transformational energy going on around you anyway. If you have any major, if you're a Scorpio sun or rising or moon, or you have some other important planets there or several planets there, yeah, you're probably going to be experiencing some transformation because the North Node is directly across from you. Mm-hmm. And it's probably going to be about getting rid of old things. And that's been going on for a while now and will continue to go on for a while but now Uranus is involved. So it could be a little on the explosive side. But it's okay. Just try to ride with it and try to stay calm and take it one step at a time. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is it explosive because of the house it's in, or because it's that planet?
Uranus is explosive. It's known as nuclear. It's known as transformational, revolutionary. I think when it was discovered was a time of revolution. And yeah, so that's why it's associated with revolution. Like, and it moves through, and then shit is just not the same. Somebody just did a tornado in the room, and you're like, whoa.
And it's retrograde, and it moves faster than the North Node. And so it's kind of moving towards the North.
The North Node moves much faster. The nodes are lunar, and so the moon is the fastest thing. Right?
Okay.
It's the one that moves every several days. And the node is there with Uranus, but the nodes themselves, they stay in those access points. So the nodes are staying in Sagittarius and Taurus. Sorry, this is the part you meant. That's for 2.5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So previously the nodes were in Sagittarius and Gemini. And now it's Taurus and Scorpio for another 1.5 years.
That'll be going on for a while. Yeah. So
2 years access.
And I'm saying that for Scorpios, that's really going to affect your relationships.
For real.
So heads up, pay attention. And if something explosive happens, especially since Uranus just went retrograde, something explosive happens around a relationship, pay attention, because Uranus is usually pushing you forward. Even though it might flip shit on its head, it's still pushing you forward. So just try to ride the wave and try to figure out exactly what to do next. And even if that's literally what you end up asking every moment for the next 6 months. So it could be a little bit of a rough ride, especially with this Mars and Gemini for everyone. Okay, and that's like more on like a bigger world view of that. Okay, and so as we come up to Sagittarius, Sagittarius is going to notice it in the house of career. So they're going to notice, they're going to have that aha moment. They might say something or do something. So that's what's going to come up for Sagittarius, and it's going to be around career, and it's going to move through. And the moon's going to move through your house of friends and into the house of sort of the occult and things that are hidden in the 12th house. So, it might be things that you didn't know. So that's where the moon's going to be at the end of the week. But in the beginning of the week, it's going to feel more like it's around, work and things like that. That's where it's going to start out. It's going to be very strong about whatever you bring to the world. So aha moments around that. And the illusions and stuff could be especially around your roots and your family and your parents. So there could be some expansive illusions for Sagittariuses, and it might be keeping you. So you might just need to take a look at it and sit with it, especially in relation to the way you present to the world. So for Sagittariuses might have a little bit of push and pull on that, like the way they present to the world versus their parents, or their roots or where they came from. So there could be some transformation around that. And, also be aware, Sag, again, there could also be some release of sort of pent up energy, especially around power and greed or sex, death, and taxes. So there could be a release of of that kind of thing. Okay.
Okay.
some independence. But it could be really good with Lilith in the 8th house. Could really wake some stuff up there. And as we move on to Capricorn, Capricorn has, the moon's going to start in your 9th house. So the 9th house is very much about higher thinking. It can lead to career, but it's more like college level thinking and things like that. So it's definitely going to be like that.
And how we present to the world.
Yeah. Especially in anything you do that brings your light to the world or yourself to the world. And so you might need to be aware of what you're talking about, especially in relation to your environment and the people around you and your values. So, and money. So just be aware of that, friends. And that there could be some illusions there, because I just feel like Neptune and Jupiter, that sort of they are getting further apart, but they're still close enough together that they kind of, especially Jupiter always feels so big anyway, and with Neptune nearby makes me just feel like there's a little bit of some illusions going on, being stretched. So you may find that those illusions start to thin out. So if you have somebody under an illusion, try to be patient. All right. And finally, okay, we're not quite done, but we're getting there.
Aquarius.
I got Capricorn.
Oh, I thought you just did Capricorn.
Oh, I did, didn't I? Sorry. Aquarius, yes. Yeah, so Aquarius is going to have push and pull, sort of a pull around their 8th house. So that's going to be very much about their sex, death, and taxes, yes. But it could also mean power and greed and the occult, taboo, hidden things. And when I say sex, I don't mean like the sex you have with your partner. I mean like the sex you have in like a BDSM situation, including kink and things like that, my friends. Okay, so romantic sex is more like the 5th house. Okay, that's more like love making and that kind of thing. Okay, and the 8th house sex is a little bit more like it's a little bit more like BDSM and kink. Okay, and so if you're in that world, you may be finding something around that, especially intuition, emotions, or how you feel about things. And so those kinds of things are probably going to just kind of blurt out of your mouth all of a sudden. And it could very much go against some illusions and things like that. Okay. And it could go against your values. It could go against what you believe to be true even. So you might like even contradict yourself. So just be aware of that. It's just because you're having some shadow pieces probably wake up. And we all have shadow, every single one of us, because we all have an 8th house in astrology. And I believe that's where the shadow lies. That's a key to your shadow, as well as the 12th house. And, so I just think that that's a good way to, if you want to do shadow work, is start by looking at your 8th house. Okay. That's where you want to go.
12th house Pluto.
Yeah, the 12th house Pluto, has been there for a long time for you, Aquarius. So, it's been there for a while, depending on what kind of Aquarius, where your placements are. But Pluto tends to represent death and rebirth. And it's in Capricorn right now, and that's what the United States is going through, their Pluto returns. And so essentially that applies to what we're seeing as our government tries to figure out how to deal with the insanity that we call politics. Because to me, it feels more like a reality show.
Yeah.
This is a joke, right?
And I realize it's not really funny, but it's definitely at the height of drama right now. And I think that's going to be going on, friends, for quite some time, because Pluto is the slowest moving planet. It moves so slow. It takes 240 some years, and that's debatable, to go around the entire zodiac. Most other ones take, well, I think the moon goes around like at least like once every month or something like that. So so the moon goes around once a month, and Mars is, I think, twice a year or something like that. So so just to give you some concept of that Pluto takes 240 years, or 240 plus years, okay? And that's being debated by scientists and astrologers now. Okay. The way it influences us, we're not completely sure sometimes. We think we know, but Pluto moves so slowly, and it wasn't discovered until a certain time by astronomers. And so most of the way that astrologers figure things out is by witnessing people's lives and sort of noting down. So friends, that means pay attention. If you want to learn astrology and you want to know how it affects you, I would say start with the moon, because it's the fastest moving one, and you can tell where it is in your chart and how it moves around and how does it affect you. And so pay attention to where is the moon. And I keep telling you where the moon is, right? So that's what I'm just saying that's a good way to understand how astrologers interpret what they're interpreting. They do it by witnessing their own lives and other people's lives and the news, and how the different planets are in different places and how they affect those places. So just thought you might want to know that. And so that's why sometimes with Pluto, we don't know exactly what it's going to do, how it's going to affect things. But we learned what happened with the virus, because I believe it came out of Aquarius and went into Capricorn, right? Or something like that. And so there was some movement like that, and the virus was involved with it. So I don't know all the details. Still, it's very complicated. So I'm just going to say, and I'm not that great of an astrologer yet. I'm getting there, but I'm still learning. It's
doing great. You're doing
so
great.
Much to learn, friends.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I have been doing astrology for like 20 plus years, and it still feels like not long enough.
All right.
Yeah. So Aquarius friends, pay attention. Your moon's going to be in the 8th house. Like I said, Neptune is in your 2nd house. So it's around money and values and things like that. And it's also about illusions. And especially with Jupiter around there. Okay. And Neptune is in Pisces. So I just feel like right now the collective is dealing with illusions of all kinds. And yes, we are. We got problems with fake news and some guy spreading some crazy BS, and I mean, he isn't even worth talking about. So I don't know why people listen to him. Right. But yeah, so so that's just right away I'm just going to say that illusions are everywhere right now. So pay attention, and Aquarius, you're probably feeling it around your values, especially if you have strong Aquarius placements are typically they're typically like sort of humanitarians. They want the whole group, everyone to be included. So I'm sure things are bothering you right now. Okay.
And it's because Aquarius, again, I'm going to come back to that elemental thing. Aquarius is air, and so is Gemini. So that's how these things activate each other as well. So think it through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And right now is a great time. Like if you're able to slow things down a little bit and think things through, Mars is in Gemini. So if you just slow it down a little bit, you should be able to think things through. Okay. And it just might mean that you have to go down and then be like, oh shit, and then back up and then do it again. That's all. And then the second time should be great. Okay. So just keep telling yourself that, and just keep going through, just trying to slow down and think things through. Okay. And that's for everybody.
And
And
last but not least would
last but
be
not least.
compassionate Pisces.
Yeah, Pisces, pay attention right now. You have Neptune is in your sign, and Neptune can sometimes be hard because sometimes some illusions are great, my friends, and sometimes some illusions are not. And Pisces can be really affected by Neptune. It can be because Neptune is its ruling planet, so it tends to be really strong there, okay? So Neptune in Pisces means illusions. And so if you're looking around and you're wondering why people are under illusions, okay, it's the Neptune in Pisces right now, but also if you are a Pisces, pay strong attention right now to anything, any belief system you have, especially regarding yourself, and who you are, especially who you believe you are. Okay, because that's going to be super important right now. And I would also say, it's okay to go inward. Go ahead and do that. Go inward. Because that's the best thing you could do right now, especially around relationships, because directly across, I can see that relationships could be said that could really affect what's in your heart. So you can see how I'm getting there. LeKross would see how the moon is over there in Libra, right, and Mercury is right here. This is the 7th house of relationships. And here they are, and they're directly in opposition to Neptune and Jupiter. And so, then as a result, they're, they kind of push and pull. And so you might be feeling some illusions about yourself because something a partner said or somebody said to you that you're in relationship with of any kind, not just romance, friends and business partners too. And so be aware of those illusions because it's an illusion, my friends, and it might send you downward on a downward spiral. So try not to allow that to happen.
Could it even affect like illusions with yourself, like insecurities and illusions within your, is what I'm thinking, like if you're saying Neptune is about illusions, I mean, you could even create illusions about yourself, like lack of self-worth or maybe arrogance and ego. Like,
it's also about the good dreams that you have in the world too. So that's why I say to just pay attention, because it can also be about like, you dream of traveling. Well, that's, you know what I mean? That's an illusion too in its own way. It's a dream, something you want to come true, right? Even though you know that you're not in it now. So that can also really affect. Right now, though, it's in Pisces. So if there is any vision right now, it's probably going to feel like you're looking through water. You can't quite see the details yet. You're not sure exactly how it's going to come together. And I think that's probably how we're seeing our government right now. Think about that. Like, the crap that we see going down and how wrong it is and how things are messed up. Most of us could agree that our system in generally doesn't work well. And right now, if we can see that it needs to change, but do we really know how and what that's going to look like? And every time I try to think about it, I feel like I'm looking through water. Like, it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe, you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's kind of what's going on in the world right now for everybody.
I do have a question. What are the green lines? The green dotted?
Yeah, those are more aspects. Okay. And they're, what's it called? It's called, hold on. I need my little cheat sheet. Yeah, it's actually a harder one to remember for me. Yeah, I think it's a sesquihydrate or something like that. It's like a crazy name. And it's hard to even remember here. Nope, I don't have that cheat sheet here. It's over on the table.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah,
Another
sorry.
angle.
Yeah, it's another angle.
And the never mind. I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, we're both tripping on it.
And the Sasquatch line.
Sasquatch of the Sesquihydrite of the.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
no, I'm just making it
All
up.
right.
All right. So, bottom line, we wish you all a beautiful conclusion to the month, and may all of us surf it with grace and learn what we need to learn and take actions on the things we need to take actions. And as I like to say, because this is Uranus, Uranus's surprise, right? May you be delightfully surprised how sweet this life can be. Because you get what you expect. Although with Uranus, you don't get anything that you expect. So that's what I was trying to roll with it, baby. Roll with it. Surf's up.
Yeah, that's what they say about Uranus, is that whatever you think you'll get, you won't. It's going to be something else. So, okay.
May it be a delightful surprise.
And as I pull 3 cards right now, I want to remind you, friends, that you should always, let me stop this. Okay. You should always, in my readings, in any of the readings that I do, including astrology, take what you like and leave the rest. Take what's important to you and things like that. And also be aware that in the past, we had a certain spiritual walk, a certain thing, a certain destination in which we were going. And that has certainly been our draw forward and how we've moved on in our lives and how we've moved forward. And so pay attention as you're going this week and honor that path that you have come, and always honor everything everywhere you have been, including in your mind and topics you've explored and things you've tried on and things like that. All of those things are really important. And as you're going forward, be aware that right now you have the whole world in your hands. You have the whole world in your hands. And so just be ready to present that forward to the world and be ready to bring that into your heart, because that's what's happening right now. What you have is getting out there in the world, and it will find a way to bring more blessings to your life. And as you go forward, remember your relationships and remember your loyalty and remember those that you have committed to, especially in any kind of 2 relationships where there's 2 people, anything like that. If you've made any commitments, be aware of that and be aware of your alliances, because they'll become very important in your future going forward. And that's what exactly this is all about, especially alliances around like the way you think or people that are part of your tribe and the way that you feel and think about things. Okay, so remember, in the past, as you're going forward, just hold on to that where you've been and remember how important those things are. And as you're going forward, hold into your heart what you have now, because what you're bringing to the world is a blessing, and it is sending blessings to you right now all the time. And as you're going forward, be sure to remember your partnerships and your connections with others, and especially one-on-one connections, however they might be, especially when they're related to your mind or the way you think. Okay? And so, friends, I hope that reading is great for you, and please take what you like and leave the rest. And notice that I stumble all over my words because Mercury's doing funny things right now.
Hence why I've been so quiet.
Okay, and that's just...
You're doing a great job. I just want to say your astrology has given me so many insights in my life, and I've been so grateful to be able to surf it more competently, because you've helped me see how my chart and the astrology, how it all works. And so
Thanks.
we wish you all the very best. We just want to save you some time, share what we've learned.
Yeah, and astrology is very much, unique for each and every one of us. So even these reports, if things are like, that just didn't happen, Hollis, it's okay. It's not really about that. It's about the vibration. And it's about also learning the planets and how it directly affects your chart. So pay attention. There's some cool journals, cool ways to just, journal, pay attention to where the moon is in your chart and notice how it's affecting you. And that's kind of my first step. And I appreciate all of you for listening. Thank you, Bright Hawk. And thank you, LeKross. Thank you, LeKross. You were that way before.
Yeah, right. I was over there.
Okay, thank you, LeKross. And thanks for being part of the show. And I appreciate it. Please give us feedback at rainbowsoul.show. We want to hear from you. So just go to our website and email us. You can contact us through there.
Thank you for watching Rainbow Soul.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for listening to this week's Soulstrology and subscribing, liking, sharing, and reviewing. We hope you enjoy this dose of Soulstrology and encourage you to embrace the week ahead with an open mind and heart so that you may integrate the deepest of lessons from the stars. Take a moment to step outside and honor the planets, stars, and moon in the sky with your heart. Integrate the messages that resonate and leave the rest for someone else. We deeply appreciate each and every one of you. Always remember that you are a perfectly unique human with an exclusive star map of your destiny, your soul purpose, and your heart's desire. Thank you again for tuning in to Rainbow Soul.